When I first started studying Korean, I had a period of time where I didn't know what to study. I wasn't sure what I should be doing to progress, and whatever I was doing was definitely not helping. As a self-study Korean learner, it's hard to get a structure on what to do and when to do it. Even though there are times that I struggle to study grammar points, having a system really helps making it easier, and I eventually start to understand and master the grammar points in writing and in real conversation. But luckily, we are all in an age now in which technology is everything, so it's so much easier to study a language at home than it was maybe 20 years ago. So, you want to learn Korean grammar? That's great. The question that a lot of beginners asked, including me, was, but how? I wish I had an older sister or someone to tell me exactly how I should go about studying Korean grammar. So today, I'm going to be that person for you all and hopefully help you out a little bit and give you some tips based on my experience studying Korean grammar. These days, I have been working through the Korean Grammar in Use beginning book and Talk to Me in Korean levels 1 through 5. Currently, I'm in the review state when it comes to Korean because I really want to completely understand everything. I would say that I'm somewhere in between elementary Korean, but I'm slowly inching closer to lower intermediate, which is actually my goal for 2022. With that said, I recommend Korean Grammar in Use and Talk to Me in Korean as a way to learn Korean grammar. I have a video on Talk to Me in Korean if you want to know more information about them, but they generally do a great job in teaching grammar points very easily. Other possible options to learn Korean grammar are Korean Class 101 or howtostudykorean.com. If you have any other resources that you use to study Korean grammar, please leave them in the comments down below so everyone else can see them and try them out. To effectively learn Korean grammar, I first read about it in the textbook and do the exercises that are given. Then I search for a video about that topic on YouTube. It is either a Miss Figgy video, a Korean only video, or Learn Korean with Go Billy Korean video. This way I can get more example sentences and explanations on the grammar point that I just read about. I also like to take small jotted notes while watching the video. To be honest, I'm really not a note person, so I only take notes when it's absolutely necessary. And I think it's really good to take at least a little bit of notes for stuff that is not in your textbook or somewhere you can look easily back at. So after watching the video and completing whatever examples that were within the video, I actually go back to my textbook and read about the grammar point again. That's when I take very important information out and add it to my notes. Stuff like irregulars, certain rules, and when you should use that grammar point. I only write down the important information and make sure you don't spend too much time on notes, since a lot of the information is already in the textbook. After I'm done writing my notes about the grammar point, I try to make sentences on my own. This part takes the longest for me because I often struggle to form good sentences. But in the long run, this method has helped me learn how to properly use the grammar structure. After writing sentences ranging from 10 to 20, now is the part that I actually enjoy. I do the same exact thing I did with the sentences, but instead of writing it, I do it verbally so I can get used to saying it out loud. I usually start with the sentences I wrote and use papago to make sure I'm actually saying the right thing. Another thing that is important is to know about when making sentences. In general, you need to have a good knowledge of vocabulary so you can use them in your sentences. So remember to study a lot of vocabulary alongside your grammar lessons. If Papago can understand me and translate what I'm saying correctly, I think of it as a win. So once I get through the whole list of sentences I already made, I try to make my own sentences on the spot. This can be really difficult at the first try, but it's really fun to do when you get the hang of it. I know a lot of people, one of them being me, who learn a topic and never go back to it. Now, after studying for a while, I really hate to see people make the same mistakes that I once did. This habit is really hurtful in the long run. If you don't intentionally review that grammar point might be as good as gone. There's a huge chance that after you learn it in one day, the next day you might forget how to use it. You're not going to magically learn and remember something in one day, so the key is to review when learning Korean grammar. As much fun as it is to progress in Korean, it is also super important to schedule a review day or multiple days. I usually review on the weekend because that's the day that I want to do the least amount of new work and just relax. So during that day, I review everything from the past week as well as any grammar points from other weeks that I think I should be reviewing. But don't wait until your review day to review. I really like starting and ending my study sessions with a quick review. At the beginning of the study session, I review what I learned the previous day, and at the end, I review what I just learned during that session. If you're like me, you might get bored of doing the same thing all the time and crave for something new. That's when I recommend you should start mixing up the resources you use. So say you use a textbook like me for like 3 weeks, and maybe for that 4th week you use Talk to Me in Korean or howtostudykorean.com to learn grammar for a little bit. Doing this every few weeks will make things more lively and might not make you feel like you're in a loop. If you want to make fast progress, I suggest treat Korean study like you're taking a course and make deadlines. The only difference between studying Korean and your courses is that you get to make the deadlines and give yourself enough time to do something. And so you don't have the pressure of somebody else making your deadlines. You can make your deadlines based on your schedule and when you have time to study Korean. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and it could help you add some things into your own study routine. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!